Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. If it's your first time here, then hi, my name is Bekah. I have quite a few new things that have come in PR over the last couple of weeks that I'm super excited to try, and they're big releases that I want to spend a little more time on. So the first is the new Rare Beauty Powder Luminous Blush. Let me just show you the PR package. It's ridiculous. This is the PR package. It's very generous. They sent over every single shade of the new powder blushes, as well as some of the older like liquid blushes, as well as their brushes for the blush. So I'm gonna do a try on maybe of a couple of shades. I don't think I'm gonna get to like swatch and then remove and swatch every single shade, but I'm gonna do as much as I can. The other big release is the Make Beauty new liquid liners. They're called the Liquid Line Waterproof Felt Tip Eyeliner, and obviously they come in all of these amazing shades. So I'm gonna try to use a couple of those as well. And then I don't know if we're gonna get to all of this, but Fenty also sent over a big package of their new highlighters. YSL sent over one of their YSL Couture Mini Clutch eyeshadows. I have this color story. It's called 200. Yeah, the shade is 200. So that looks really pretty. Persona sent over their new liquid eyeshadow. So there's a lot to play with, but I really want to focus on the blushes and the liquid liners because that's what I'm most excited for right now. I don't have a new foundation, so I'm already prepped. I have the Charlotte Tilbury UV primer with the CL Skin Tint, a classic combination for me. I actually did this quite a few hours ago, but I feel like it's looking okay. I just added some setting spray to freshen things up, and I'm gonna get into the blushes. So these are the Soft Pinch Luminous Powder Blushes. This is the packaging. It's super cute. It has this like rounded, soft matte finish to it. And this is the shade I'm most excited about. It's called Cheer. And they describe it as a warm pink that was specifically, I guess, designed for Selena. So that's the one I'm gonna spend the most time on, but I'll show you all of them and I am going to swatch all of them too. I mean, these are just so satisfying. I love looking at how smooth the pan is. This is the shade Joy. This is the shade Happy, which is a really pretty cool tone pink. This is the shade Hope. And this is the shade Love. And this is the shade Truth. So I think you can see there's a range of lighter tones and deeper tones, as well as warmer and cooler undertones. And I haven't actually touched these yet at all. So I'm gonna go into Cheer. Actually, I can feel how smooth it is. I wonder if these are baked. It has like a baked blush sort of feel. So in order, starting here, I have Cheer, Hope, Joy, Happy, Truth, and Love. So there's a real range of depth and pigmentation and warm and cool tones. They are definitely metallic, like there's a sheen running through them. Some of them have a slightly more contrast, like they almost look duochrome, but not quite, whereas others look a little bit softer. So I'm curious to see what they look like on the cheeks. They also sent over two brushes. This is their powder brush and this is their blush brush, which I think is meant to go with the powder blushes. It's a duo fiber brush and it's also at an angle, and I think that's going to help pick up these powder blushes because they are pretty hard pressed, which is nice, but they have this really soft kind of quality to them, and I think this will work the product into the cheeks and pick up really nicely. So let's start light. I'm a little bit like, are these gonna look really metallic? Is it gonna look like eyeshadow on the cheeks, you know? So I'm gonna go in with the shade Cheer, that warm pink that they say is Selena's shade. So how to use, they say take the blush brush, sweep across, ooh, that did pick up a lot. Whoa. They say sweep across the blush itself. And then it says lightly tap onto the apples of your cheeks. I'm actually gonna even tap it off a little bit. And why don't we start kind of higher on the cheeks, right here. And I'm going to literally stamp and sort of press and blend. These are definitely like a highlighting blush because they have so much sheen running through them. I do like the tone of this blush. I think it's really fresh. It has that like, I don't know, it's almost like a light peachiness. And there's a bit of like peachy sheen running through it that I think on my skin tone is pretty flattering. But I will say it does have some visible shimmer that comes with the territory of a metallic blush, honestly. It's not like it's a natural look. It's going to look like you have blush on, but I like the tone of it. I think it's really fresh and pretty. Maybe I'll go into Hope next, which is a little bit more pinky and slightly deeper. And maybe I'll do that more. Ooh, that was really visible, right? Maybe I'll do that sort of a little bit below that. The original Cheer shade. Then I'm feeling dangerous. I'm gonna go in with the shade Happy, which is like a cool toned pink, and I'm gonna do it more on the apple of my cheek. That's definitely visible. Oh, okay, gotta blend that out a little bit. Okay, did not love that on the center of the cheek. I think this is the kind of formula I'm gonna like more on the back of my cheek, because on the center of my cheek, I feel like the shimmer is sort of sinking into my pores. It's a little bit more visible. And that's the thing with like a metallic blush, is that if you have more visible texture, any powder blush is going to emphasize that, but especially if there's a metallic sheen running through it. So I would just say blend carefully. I sort of wiped off my brush. I'm gonna go into Joy, which is one of the mid-tone shades, I would say. Ooh, bright, very bright. And I'm gonna apply that towards the back of the cheek. It is blending out. Yeah, I think this area is where I would apply these, not so much in the center. And you can see there's a bit more of like a rusty, warmer undertone, slightly more red with this shade. I have like 4 different blush shades on, it's fine. These two, Love and Truth, I think are a little bit too deep for my skin tone, so I'm not gonna use these. But because I showed you the 4 like lighter shades, I think that's what I'm gonna use to just kind of even out my cheeks on both sides. I think of the 4 shades that I've tried, this is Cheer. I like Cheer. I find it to be quite forgiving on my skin tone. And I also really liked Happy. I kind of liked the cool tone pink. So now I'm just evening everything out. I kind of want to try this powder blush just to see if it's a little bit more forgiving, or if the dual fiber is the way to go. But I feel like when it comes to blending, I like how soft this is because the bristles are so long, and it's kind of helping me like sweep the product to blend. Now that I'm building it up, I bet you can see sort of on camera the metallic sheen when the light catches on my cheeks. And you definitely can see, again, it's not sparkle, but you can see the metallic sheen on my cheeks. It's pretty, but it is a very particular kind of look. For me, it's not like an everyday kind of look. It's more of like a special occasion sort of blush. And I do think if I were just to pick one shade, I would go for Cheer, because it's pink, it's kind of peachy, it's balanced, and I think that works for my skin tone. And I would definitely say if you have really visible pores, you should powder before applying this to prevent this from sinking into the pores. Maybe I'll actually do that real quick. I've really been liking this Mob Beauty powder still. I find that it's super blurring and diffusing, so I'm going to just apply that around my nose and T-zone. I think I'm gonna stop there for cheeks because there's a lot happening. I don't have any bronzer on yet, but I might add some at the end. I actually wanna move on to eyes, and I do have this new YSL Mini Clutch Couture eyeshadow quad, and this is a new formula to me. I know people have really been enjoying these. This is the packaging. It's very sleek. It's got this leather quilted sort of packaging, and then you've got the 4 shadows here. And I know people really like this, so I am going to swatch it for you. It does have the really pretty YSL pans, and I'm about to ruin them. This first shade is definitely a topper. It's kind of like crumbly. So here are the swatches. I actually really like this mid-toned matte shade. It's overall pretty warm and red leaning, but I feel like this all over the lid even is really pretty. And that topper has like a light golden sparkle. Okay, I'm gonna apologize in advance for being kind of boring, but I really just wanna use some of these matte shades as a base so that I can really focus on the color with the Make Beauty liquid liners. I'm so excited about those. So I'm just gonna take a Rephr 15 into the tan shade here. It's got this interesting like putty sort of undertone. It has this like pink brown undertone, like this nudie putty pink brown. Kind of like it. There's a bit of like, I don't know, like this grunginess to it. I feel like it's pulling a little bit warmer on my eyes than I would like. So I'm gonna go into the Makeup by Mario matte palette, the neutrals palette, and just kind of tone it down a little bit, maybe introduce a bit more taupiness. I really like the YSL quad, but I think I might have to come back to that a different day. It's pulling a lot redder than I want it to and warmer than I want it to today. So, reminder to self to revisit that. Okay, let's talk about the eyeliners. I'm so excited for these. So these are called the Liquid Line Waterproof Felt Tip Eyeliners. It comes in 13 shades. The thing I love about Make is that they are not afraid of color. So there's a white, there's pastels, there's bright shades in these, and it's a felt tip liner. So this is what the packaging looks like. It has this like champagne gold, and then the cap actually shows you what color it is. Here is what the tip of the eyeliner looks like. It's a long tip and it's actually a very firm tip. So when I like press it against the skin, it doesn't have too much give. It has just enough give, but it's not like it's going to separate and bleed everywhere. The firmness helps you keep a fine line. So when you draw on the tip, it's very fine, or you can sort of lay it down and draw it on the side for a juicier line. I've already swatched this shade before. This is the shade Purple Haze. It's so fun. It's this beautiful like pastel purple. And the thing I love about this shade is it has full opacity with one swipe. And that's something that I really look for in a pastel. You don't want to have to layer it on too much. All right, this is not my best swatch work, but I do just want to show you all of the colors. There's a white, there's like this mustard yellow, there's a like, I don't know, this like burnt clay sort of red, a hot pink, a deep burgundy, and then there's a pastel purple, pastel like seafoam green, this really interesting gray like cornflower blue. And you've got this like cerulean teal, and then you've got this really dark green, like a khaki green. And they have an actual brown, like a cool toned brown, a gray shade, and then a black shade. So you've got such a range of really interesting colors in this range, and I hope you can see them on camera. The shade I think I'm most excited to play with is Purple Haze. I just love a pastel moment. I love that there's like a seafoam green as well, but I think I'm gonna go in and create a wing with Purple Haze and then maybe a deeper shade to sort of accentuate the color. Okay, so I like to sort of lay the pen down on its side in order to create a really skinny line. And I just go section by section and take my time. I feel like the firmness of the felt tip is actually really good here because it gives you enough resistance where it doesn't just like splay out, and it gives you control as well. And I think you can see how much opacity there is with just that one swipe. See how bright that is? You can actually see it pop against my skin tone. Then for my non-dominant side, I do the same thing. I sort of lay it down against my lash line. Gonna give it another good shake before I go in for the wing. Then I'm gonna use the tip a little bit more as I'm winging it out. So those are the pastel purple wings. I feel like I'm kind of curious to try this gray with the pastel purple. So I'm actually just gonna go along my lash line very closely to add a bit of depth. Just such an interesting shade. I feel like it's a nice way to add depth in a way that's not black or brown. Although I do think the black and brown are really nice and are obviously going to be the best sellers. It's a very interesting gray. Close up, there's almost a bit of like green in there. There's so much more I want to do. I want to play with all of these colors, but I'm going to leave this here for now. I'll definitely be using these more in the future, and if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all of that, I'm sure you'll see more eye looks with these because I just can't wait to dig into like the yellow and the pink and the teal. I have a feeling I'm going to be wearing these all summer and creating some more graphic looks as well. And then for mascara, I actually do have a new mascara. This is the Hamish Smudge Stop Mascara. It's one of the tubing mascaras that I hauled from YesStyle like last month, and I actually haven't had a chance to use it yet. I'm super excited. So it looks like this. It actually reminds me a little bit of the new Refi mascara, which I haven't tried, but it has a similar curved but tapered wand. And this is a tubing formula, so it's not going to smudge. It's on the affordable side. It's a K-Beauty mascara. I want to say it was around $10. I'm going to try it on its own without a lash primer, just to see how it goes. I've already curled my lashes with a Shiseido lash curler. And I like the kind of spiralized bristles. I feel like that's gonna give me a lot of nice separation. It's already like kind of combing through my lashes. If you're not familiar with a tubing mascara, they basically are smudge resistant, not because they're waterproof, but because they dry and form these tubes around your lashes. And then when you remove them, the tubes just kind of peel off with water, with warm water. I like this brush. It's giving me a lot of control, especially in the inner corner, like where this is tapered. A lot of length and separation. I feel like it's a very like clean, separated lash look. Going into the other side, I really like that this is a drier tubing formula. Sometimes tubing formulas can be really, really wet, and then they just drag my lash down. But this actually is not too wet, but it's moldable. It's like a malleable formula. Okay, this side doesn't look quite as good as this side, but I still really like it. I like how black the shade is. It's giving me some definition. And yeah, it's giving me that really clean, lengthened, separated look. So I do always report back in a pinned comment when I'm trying new makeup how it wore throughout the day, and I think I can wear this for about 8 hours today. So look for that pinned comment. I'll let you know if it smudged, if it kind of dropped the curl throughout the day, what the removal process was like, and all of that good stuff. Oh, and I also want to show you these swatches have dried down and they are not budging at all. So I'm really optimistic about how these are going to wear. I do have oily eyelids, but I feel like this is going to set because once it set down, it just felt super matte and like it wasn't moving. But I'll report back on that too. Then for lips, I have a new combo that I want to try. So Mob Beauty is releasing this week, probably the day this video goes up, a new lip liner, and it's called 1990, and it is designed and formulated after the original MAC spice of like the 1990s. So one of the co-founders of Mob Beauty was an original formulator at MAC, and so I was on a Zoom call with them, and he brought out his old journal, like a formulation journal, and that's how he kind of recreated this original shade before it became the sort of warmer, spicier, like more orangey iteration it is now. It used to be this very cool tone shade, and I'm so excited about this. I hope they bring out other shades because this formula is really, really nice. It's creamy, but it's definitely matte. And so when it dries down, it's going to be really long lasting. And then I want to top it actually with a cool toned gloss. And this is the Half Magic gloss in the shade Y2K Cherub. It's so fun. It's this really pretty, like shimmery pink. So I feel like the contrast of these two is going to be kind of interesting. I haven't tried these together yet, but I think it's going to work. So I'm going to go for like a pretty sculpted lip underneath the gloss. It is definitely cool toned. Like you can see, it's giving me like that shadowy look. Then when I'm sculpting, I actually shadow like the corners of the lips, the outer corners, and leave the middle of the lip blank. It just has this like beautiful, cool toned grunginess to it, but it's also still really wearable because it has this like mauve-y undertone. Then I'm gonna go in with the gloss. Something about this feels really 90s to me too, even though it's called Y2K Cherub. That kind of frosty lip gloss look. I feel like my mom always wore really frosty lip gloss and lipstick during the 90s. I thought it was so cool. So it's kind of that like throwback to that time. And I feel like it ties together with the cheek look too. It's so fun. Okay, I kind of love it. I feel like it is that like Y2K vibe with the cool tone pinks, that slightly metallic cheek, and then like the pastel shades. It's almost like silvery. I feel really fun. It's like just enough. It's not too over the top, but it still feels wearable, but also fun. You know what? Since we're here, I'm just gonna add even more to top it off because I'm not doing bronzer. I'm keeping the rest of the skin fresh. So I feel like I can go a little bit harder on that blush since we're going for that Y2K look anyway. Okay, that's enough now. All right, so real quick to talk about everything I used. This blush, super fun. It's metallic, it's shimmery. It's gonna give you that really gleaming cheek look that feels like a throwback, but also it's really pretty and it's like a fun vibe. It's fun for summer. My advice would be that if you have textured skin, use a pore filling primer underneath this blush. So maybe I would go in next time with like the Danessa Myricks blurring balm in my T-zone, or any areas where you have more visible pores before going in with this, because the smoother the canvas, the smoother this is going to look. If you have skin texture, it's gonna catch on bumps and you're gonna see it. So I feel like having a smooth canvas, whether you naturally have one and you're blessed, or you kind of fake one with a pore filling primer, will really, really help with the application of that. In terms of this eyeshadow, I like barely gave it a shot, but I am excited to try it, and I do think the textures feel really nice. The eyeliners are really a star of the show as well. I don't think they're gonna smudge, but I am gonna give this a full 8 hours and I'll let you know if it smudges by the end of the day. I'm just so excited about these colors. There isn't really anything on the market that's like exactly comparable to the colors they're doing, the color story they're offering. And then the lip combo is so fun. This is a lip liner that's going to look good on so many different skin tones because it's versatile, it's contouring, but somehow you're able to build it up without it looking really gray or really dark. It just stays this beautiful cool tone shade. And then Y2K Cherub is just really fun if you want that kind of like frosty, full-lipped throwback moment. Oh, and then the mascara. Oh, here it is. The mascara, I think is really promising. I am going to let you know how it comes off, if it does come off easily with tubes, but I'm actually really happy that I didn't have to use a curling primer with this mascara. I feel like K-Beauty tubing mascaras might be the way to go because they won't weigh the lash down because they're designed for finer lashes, but they're still gonna give you that tubing application that we like. So I'll keep you posted. So that's it for today. If it was your first time here, then I hope you enjoyed and that you'll stick around and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.